Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. I'm Argent Leo, and today we are playing Fortnite Lego survival mode. And I'm currently in the middle of a build. This is my village, and it's on level 10. I'm currently in the middle of a build, and I'm currently building a flying machine. So right now we're busy putting on some boosters, thrusters. And I found that in survival mode, it's good to actually build a jig that stays in one place, and you're able to build various vehicles. The vehicles last for about 3 hours, I would say, or I'd say they last for about 3 hours, and then they get all busted up, and then you gotta either try and repair it or build a new one. So there's a few of my crafts in the air at the moment, and there's one that's not far from here, but I decided to actually, that's also busted up. So I decided to actually just build a new one, and I'll figure out, I'll try and fix those after I build this one, and if they are salvageable, then I can make use of it, or if not, I can just bust them up and build something else. Unfortunately, the boosters, the wheels, the switches, they're non-refundable. So whatever you use to create them, once you break them, you don't get any resources back. So that's unfortunate, but I do have a fix coming up soon. So it's not in this video, but it will be in a future video. So do consider subscribing to the channel to be up to date with that one, because I'm going to make a video shortly that would make getting items in the game a lot simpler. So if you guys are into that, leave a comment in the comment section of this video. I would appreciate that, just to see how many of you are interested in a video like that. And I will be making that video in a couple of days time, so do stay tuned to what's going on the channel. So right now we're placing switches. So a little secret, or not so much a secret, but a huge annoyance about the switches is the switches do tend to glitch. So switches and thrusters have got a huge issue where they glitch and disappear. And then you've got another issue with your NPC. So that NPC, his name is Silas, and he's my adventurer. But he does tend to get in the way, and if I drop a piece on top of him, he could cause the glitch, and that can mean that I could lose the piece, like where he's standing now, right now. Yep, that's a big no-no. So what I'll do is I'll move away from the structure, he'll follow me, and then I'll come back, and usually he's not standing in the same place. So now we can drop this item, or this piece. So this piece fell perfectly, nothing glitched. So on this piece, everything glitched. It's like Silas was standing there the whole time, invisible. But anyway, so now that this piece is not the way it's supposed to be, I'm going to try jumping on it, try and get it into place. So that is obviously not working. So I need to nudge it somehow, but I don't want to move. I want to avoid moving the whole jig. And my switch glitched as well. Can you see the switch is supposed to be on this block, but it's now behind over there. So that put the switch back in place, breaking that middle block piece. But it's still not in a position where I want it to be. So there's several ways that you can try and put the piece back. One is actually moving the entire structure, which I don't want to do. So what I've actually done is, can you see how I've placed that last piece? There's a huge gap. It's not a build piece directly across. So that's actually in the design so that I can actually negotiate issues like this. The build piece is not 100% the same size, so I just punched the chicken for some to alleviate some frustration. But it allows you to do this here. It allows you to get in there and nudge the item. But it didn't go all the way through. It can be because of Silas. Maybe he's in the wrong place. So I moved him out of the way. I'm going to try nudging it again. Okay, so that worked. But as you can see, it glitched the switch. But we're not too worried about that. Don't worry about the switch right now. As long as the switch, you can see the switch, it appears on the build, then don't worry. As long as you placed it somewhere, but if it glitches, it sometimes also goes invisible, and you can test whether the piece is there by actually standing in that position or trying to place another switch. If you can't, then the switch is there, it's just invisible. So today I'm just showing you guys what it takes to actually build one of these. Those of you that do play around with it, you can have a look at the design. It's pretty straightforward. And you can build one. If you guys want me to actually make a video on this particular craft detailing its build, then I will in the future, but it's pretty basic. I'm just sharing with you guys some tricks as to the way the build pieces behave. And who knows, maybe Epic fixes it in the future. There's already talk of a steering wheel. And as you can see, when I place that switch, all the switches are now in the same place again. But you'll see when I start placing balloons, then the balloons can be an issue. Placing items above the wheels also creates a problem. So you want to avoid placing items around the wheels directly on a build piece that is carrying your boosters and structures if they're not supposed to be part of the main structure. Then you want to stay clear of that, because the minute you place a build too close to it or on top of it, it's going to force it to become part of your main build, and then obviously your boosters will break off and your thrusters will break off and your switch will break off. Okay, so this is Diana. Diana's one of my villagers as well, and she's been cutting amber for the past 3 days only. So I don't know what's up with that, but I'm gonna leave because at least she's busy. This is the cuddle team leader. Now you will remember the cuddle team leader from the beginning of the game, but he is now one of my villagers. How cool is that? But anyway, he's busy making wool, drawstrings. Well, whatever he's doing it, so we leave him to do that. So this is an essence table. It's where you can actually strengthen your weapons and tools. But more about that later. Let's continue with the build of the vehicle, of the LFO, Lego flying object. Okay, so what I've discovered from trial and error is that basically on this particular build, this particular design, about 5 balloons in front will cause it to fly, 3 balloons in the back, and then this design will actually fly. I've got smaller boosters on the back and small boosters underneath, because I found that when I use larger boosters on this particular design, it tends to make the design unstable and it can flip. Things can break off. So using smaller boosters on this design, it works perfectly. So how far are we? We've still got the glitching switch. We just need a few balloons. So one more balloon, and this thing could fly right now, but I actually want it to raise off so that I know I've got the balance correct. So I want to put a few more balloons, and it's better to actually do that now. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put a few balloons until it raises one by one, and that way I'll know exactly how many balloons it takes for this object to actually start floating. So we'll put it around there. Balance is okay. That balloon should have actually been in front of it, but that's fine. Let's use the booster. I was hoping that the booster would actually boost up, but this is fine because if it tilts forward, it's going to rise faster, and that's what I want. So let's try and rip it off from the jig. Nice. So this is what I want. I want it to actually have this slight tilt so that it like rises like that. I don't know if this is actually a better design, but you know, like that. But I want it to do, you know, like this, you know. Well, that's the way this one is designed. There's hundreds of other designs. But what I'm actually very happy about is this thing turns. Like when we test it out in a minute or two, I just need to determine where to put this balloon. I think it'll work best right in front, and then that balloon needs to come off. Maybe like one block to the right of this one. So this is the general idea. So it shouldn't be like too buoyant in the front, or raised too high in the front that you can't actually see. It needs to be a comfortable flight. It needs to be smooth, like this. This is nice. Doesn't make those rough jerking sounds or visible glitches that you normally get on flying craft, and they seem to be ripping apart. But yeah, unfortunately, you can make the craft as smooth as possible, but it's gonna break at some point. In my experience, they last for about 3 hours in total, but I think it's because of the refresh rate of the server. Every time it rematerializes, I suppose, or maybe they've got an age thing for regenerating what needs to regenerate in the environment, and I suppose it affects the craft because even the village regenerates plants and things like that. So I suppose there is an age factor on some of the items, maybe the balloons, the switches, the wheels, the thrusters, stuff, I don't know. But it breaks after a while. So now we've got the buoyancy of this vehicle. We know that it will float with this configuration. So I need to burst the balloon in order to land it, and then I need to determine exactly where to place the last balloon, which is like I mentioned, I'm going to place it right in front on the hood, opposite the last balloon. So now it will land. But if you look at the way it's landing, the balance is off. So I'm going to need one more balloon, and then I need to bust that middle balloon because that balloon's in the wrong place. And if I wanted it to land flat, then I'd burst one of the balloons on the back. But that would create a balance issue. So now it did fall, but the back is not on the ground. Looks like it's on the ground, but it's actually not. Maybe I can put bigger wheels that may give the illusion that it's actually landed in the back when it hasn't. But for now, let's just place the balloon in the right place, and then we can take it for a proper test run. Okay, so now I should have the silk that is required to build the last balloon. You also need to be careful when you're getting onto these vehicles, because you can push it by accident, and you can't push it into something, and that will damage it. So I'm just measuring out over there where to place it, and I need to place that balloon right there. So now it should take off better, it should turn better, it should basically just fly better. And if I can give you guys a tip in survival mode, if you want these flying crafts to give you less issues, less problems, then what you should do is you should actually dismiss your adventurer when you're going to be using the craft. But if you want to, like me, I drag him around. If the craft breaks, it breaks. What happens, happens. He is much more of a help to me than he is not, you know? If that makes any sense. Of course it does. Okay, so I need to feed this guy. You know, there should be some sort of medical center in the Lego world, because this guy is abnormally, he eats too much. So we'll just give him his full, and then we'll take the vehicle on a spin. So I've got a surprise for you guys. So what we're going to do is we're actually going, this is my third village that is looking so complete. So we're actually going to my second village right now. So do stay tuned. In about a minute or so we will arrive there. I want to actually give this vehicle a good test out. So you can see it's doing exactly what I want it to do. When the thruster cuts out, it starts sinking, but if I engage it again, it climbs higher. So it's got a slight upper tilt, but when the booster disengages, it's level. And it's got that cinematic vibe to it when it boosts and those two rockets go forward. I'm just being silly, but it does look cool, and it turns nice, and you actually have control of this design. So that's what I like about it. And you'll see when it actually gets landed, you can actually land it generally in the area where you want it to land, which is awesome. You know, you're not just hopping out of it and hoping that it lands where you more or less wanted it to land. You can actually land this thing. Like when you're going to the ground, you can actually do small adjustments in order to land it correctly. And it's quite easy to fly it, because you can engage the one booster, which is now making it go forward and climb. And then you can run to the switches, and you've got time to actually, you know, go between switches if you want to make like a slight turn. So it's actually the switch setup, like it is now, is actually quite comfortable. Easy to control. The vehicle isn't overpowered, so it doesn't fly so fast that you don't have time to make adjustments. You know, it's moving quicker than you would move if you were on the ground, and making the adjustments while you fly it's simple and easy. So that's my village. So you'll notice that my structures are not very overcomplicated. They're basically one structure with everything in it that the villagers need to work. So I think I've actually uncovered the whole plot at the moment, the current plot behind the game, and I'm going to share that with you guys in future videos. So do stay tuned, because that video will also reveal how much easier it is to actually get resources and stuff while you're playing the game, and why playing survival mode is a better mode than sandbox mode. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my second village. Let's have a look at the vehicle one more time. It's an ugly thing, but very practical. It does what you need it to do. It's not a cheap build. It will take you days to build this thing, but once it's built, it's worth it. For that 3 hours that you have to drive it around, just make sure it counts. Just make sure that once you make it, once you build it, that you actually use it, and you get your resources, and you watch more of my videos so that I can help you get the resources that you need to actually build villages like I've done in Lego Fortnite. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.